I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
so much. Has Fearless given you guys any insight to when you might go back to the office? Like, what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, so we all hit this. I mean, literally Friday the 13th, I was out with some fearless people at tattoo shop, like getting Friday the 13th
Cool.
tattoos, like thinking, we'll be back in the office on Monday. Quickly learned, nope. No, that's not true. And that was March, Friday the 13th. And we just had a big company call and they were like, we can't tell you a date right now. But what we can tell you is if you have to put a timeline in your head of when you're going to go back, let's just say right now, September, which is crazy.
Yeah, especially
So,
coming from
I mean,
March,
I
it's like
get it.
6 months in a sense.
6
March,
months,
April,
man.
May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, 6 months. Quick math.
Yep. And I'm a dad. I've got a 3-year-old at home, and luckily, thankfully, my wife has been home as well, and she has not had to work in that time, so she's been able to really like give him full attention. So thankful for that. But he just went back to daycare Monday, like last
Oh,
Monday.
good.
So now I'm like finally like, oh, I can work from home. This is no problem actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, September. So there's still quite a bit to go.
I've had,
But
let's see, I had John on. I'm trying to collect all the Fearless artists and team employees.
oh
So
yeah,
I might try
man.
to get you all. August Burns Red, I'm coming after you next, so watch out.
Sure. Yeah, Jake, the guys, they're awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
sure
so
they'd love
good.
to.
But notably, you also work for the Grammys. I mean, currently you're at Fearless Records, and notably you work for the Grammys. That's pretty cool. What was your role in that? Like, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so wow, I was at the Grammys, the Recording Academy, technically for 10 years
Wow.
before I came to Fearless. And I had several jobs over there. I started as an assistant, like right out of college, for almost 2 years. But by the time I left, I was the head of rock, alternative, and metal, the genres, like the categories for the last 5 years that I was there. And that's a really random thing to say out loud. And every time I say it, I'm like, that means nothing. But just basically, you're the connector to the community and the Recording Academy for half the year, doing outreach, going to festivals. That's how I actually met the whole Fearless gang, was going to the APMAs year after year that they had it,
Hmm.
and interviewing their artists.
Hmm.
So that's like half the year. And the other half is you're literally just, you work on those categories, you verify all the entries. I had probably like 3,000 entries across those categories. You just have to make sure they meet the guidelines and set up the committees that vote and listen and stuff. It was a pretty cool job. I was pretty burnt out of it because it's a cyclical thing. Every, what month are we in? June.
Hmm.
Every June you do the exact same thing,
Oh my God, yeah.
because it's based on the show calendar. So I think I was ready to like move on and learn something new and get more actually involved with the bands, because that was my goal
Hmm.
since I was a kid, is work with the
Yeah,
bands.
so you're just taking the submissions, listening to them entirely, and like, okay, now I got to make a decision. And would you work? I'm sure you would work with a group of people under you, like in that department.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And I hate to say this, I feel really bad actually saying that, but the cool, on the one hand, the cool thing is you're listening to everything in your genre that came out in a year. So I felt always like super on top of everything
Hmm.
in metal and alternative and rock. But unfortunately, when I say everything, I mean
Literally everything.
everything.
Yeah, that's your
There's some
lifestyle.
bad stuff, but there's some stuff that is like, what this, but you have to listen to it, and everything deserves a fair shot.
Hmm.
And maybe it's not for me, maybe it's for someone else.
Hmm.
But I heard a lot of not really good music as well
Yeah,
over all those
for
years.
sure. I mean, I can only imagine submission. I can only imagine being in that role because, like, if you're Kevin Lyman from Warped Tour, or my label owner Jeremy Weiss, he hosts Launch Music Conference, and they go through a bunch of submissions. So I'm sure they're going to get, some very
Oh yeah.
beginner bands that are just starting.
Oh yeah. And it's, but you have to we treat them all
For
equal. I'll tell you
sure,
that.
yeah.
I will give them credit. They treat everything, they get everything. It's due diligence, and they get it. If it's same listen as everything, and sometimes you do find like that diamond in there. You're like, wait, who is
Right,
this?
seriously.
Wait, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then
Grammys.
you went to Fearless after that. I mean, because you met them through your job at the Grammys, did you kind of take the
Mhm.
initiative to say, hey, what positions do you have for this opportunity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple of the teammates specifically, we were like really close. Me and another coworker at the Grammys, And he and I met up with, the team from Fearless many times for drinks, dinners, whatever, just because they're just such good people, and we connect on such a, we're all covered in tattoos and, it's just the same lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
At the Grammys, I'm like one of the youngest people there. And now at Fearless, I'm just completely amongst my like equals,
Yeah, that's your generation.
So exactly. Yeah. And so, just one of those times we were out for drinks, and, I think I was just like, I'd like to work for you. Kind of
Let's be blunt real quick. You should really fucking take me on.
And I know in the moment they were like, oh yeah, we'd love to have you. Okay, see you next week, right? But then I remember I ended up getting a call from our then president, and she was like, were you serious about wanting to work for us? Just curious. And I was like, yes. Yes, I am.
Love of God.
Please take me. And she was like, because, we're growing, this was right when not right when, but Fearless had just been acquired by Concord, and just becoming a bigger thing, becoming really just a powerhouse in this genre, this scene. And so they were like, we're expanding, we want to get another product manager. And I was like, I love this.
Yep.
Yes, please.
Huh. I wonder if you went into that job with Fearless around the same time Pop Goes Punk came out. Maybe?
So my first release that I had as a product manager was Punk Goes Acoustic.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah, that was a pretty good one too, yeah.
So that was my first one. But, it's only been, they're on, I think the last Punk Goes Pop was number 7.
Yes.
And that was a few years ago. But yeah, that was, my God, I grew up on so many Punk Goes Pop tracks as a teenager.
That was an ingenious idea. It was something that they took the song and just completely formed it into whatever the band was, working with at the time, the metalcore, the pop punk, the alternative, and the production was so good. Like it was insane. I think that was an ingenious idea by Fearless, because that really just put them on the spot in general. But I hear so many great things about the label in general, and like I go back and forth with on Twitter or some direct messages. Like they're just sweet, humble people. You guys just work hard.
I feel I could not be happier, truthfully. Like this was, the job itself it's hard. Every day it's challenging. I'm juggling a lot, just a lot of personalities, and, but I am so grateful because I'm learning like a skill and something that I've always wanted to learn, just as like a young person. Like I was in bands growing up forever, listening to Fearless, artists, and it's crazy that now I'm like behind that curtain. There's only like 10 of us. There's only like 10 people.
Oh, wow. That's not that much.
10 or 12. No, it's a tiny team. And most of that team, dude, has been together for, years. Like half the team's been there for 10 years.
Right. That's incredible.
And so they've seen a lot of change. They've seen a lot of these, records that are now like so important to us and other, young people everywhere. And it's pretty humbling to be a part of it. I'm really grateful.
What's the challenging part of being in such a a collaborative team like that? There has to be new innovative ways to kind of get that, to create a marketing idea of how to release music. There's got to, like, what are those significant challenges that usually is a common thing that you guys would acquire?
Well, I will say for me personally, the biggest challenges coming in was learning the language. Like a product manager, what I do now is like you're literally, your existence is to drive the vision of your artist, like to everybody, not just your internal team, like Fearless, but now we're at Concord and we have the whole shared services. So it's like every week I have to basically like continue to push, like, here's what, Starset's doing, and this is why it's amazing and unique. And then you have to switch gears over to, somebody else and say why they're so important. And that for me was like, I love talking and I have no problem talking to groups of people, but the language itself was completely new. I spoke this Recording Academy Grammy language that was its own thing, and I spoke it for 10 years. And so coming into the label world, having to talk about rollout campaigns and impact dates and, marketing plans, and like it was,
seems foreign.
Speaking that was different, it was hard. And I think that's what was the hardest thing for me personally. And then obviously on top of it, it's a new team. It is really small, so it's really delicate. And I think everyone was probably a little nervous. They didn't know who I was. Probably a little nervous, like, who's this guy? Who is this? Can we cuss on
Yeah,
here?
you
I almost
can.
did.
No, you can. Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
for sure.
Like, who's this fucking guy?
Yeah,
You know?
I gotta start saying these rules in the beginning because people are like, "Can I?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I say, "Fuck, shit, piss, ass, motherfucker." That Blink song, I dude, like it's so
it's
funny.
the
Or
best,
"Show Me
yeah.
Your Booty Hole" by Samson. But anyways, God, I miss
Legends.
my
But
childhood.
yeah, I hope I answered your question. But that was definitely like the hardest part for me. That's what I was most nervous about is getting that confidence to show the team that I do bring a value, you know, and have ideas and that kind of thing.
That's interesting. Like, and how often do the bands kind of also give you their 2 cents in a way? You know what I mean? Like,
I'll tell you this. It depends certainly on the band. But our complete like workflow is we would never do something without approval by the band and management
sure.
together. It has to be like a collaborative thing. Otherwise we're going to lose our trust. That relationship is so important. But it's cool because some of our bands who have like a really strong artistic vision, like Starset or IDK How, like basically we're just like, you tell us your vision and we'll tell you how we're going to make it happen, you know? But that's not the case for all our bands. Some of our bands don't have a narrative element, you know, they're just a really great, you know, metal band or something. And so that is more of like, we as a group will come up with all these ideas of things we can do and run it by them. And then they'll be like, yeah, we like this, we don't like that. And we'll just kind of go from there. That's how we get the ball rolling. But when it's narrative driven, oh my gosh, I mean, we need the band to kind of start the conversation, you know, because we don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah. And the artistic value going behind everything too. I mean, everything just kind of has to be in like a quality standard, which we were talking about before I started the live stream. I mean, the content, there's nothing there. Content needs to be identified as a quality instead of a quantity, because no matter how much content you put out there that kind of doesn't draw attention immediately, you're not appealing already from the start, and you gotta kind of rethink and reevaluate how to go about it. But I don't know how you feel about that. What do you suggest for bands or artists that are trying to get themselves more out there and try to have and apply that marketing mind to their music?
Well, that's the thing, and I love that we're talking about this because this is something we're trying to figure out every day with everything, how the world's changing. And but think about it: before quarantine, before COVID, before 2020, and this crazy episode of Jumanji began, like there was already a lot of noise. There's already like so much music coming out every day, so much content every day, you know. But at that time, not many people were really utilizing the live stream technology on either, you know, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It just wasn't really like a big thing. And now, you know, everyone was like, okay, how do we bring the live experience to the fans? Live stream it. Like, let's go. Jumped on it. And all of our bands come up with unique content outside of just performing. Like, what else can we do live and interact with the fans, blah, blah, blah. But now, just a few months into it, how bored are you of live streams? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people are getting there already. It's a little bit of fatigue, you know? So now we're like already like, okay, well, what's the next thing? Or how do you take the live stream and kind of like hack this traditional technology into something new? And, you know, everyone's always trying to figure out where are we going to be, you know, in 2021? That's where we got to try to get there now. Like, what's going to be the hit thing or whatever. But like we were kind of saying before, it depends on your audience, depends on the band. So if you're a new band, a baby band, you're trying to just acquire fans, you probably don't want to focus too much on just like random personality-based stuff. I mean, you can, it's great. You got to show who you are, but that's not what's going to pull people in. You know, your music is going to be like what you want people to love you for and come in for. So you probably keep that content around your music or the writing process or getting in the studio, or if you work with a producer that has a following, interview the producer. You know, but if you're like an established band and you know, you already have a ton of music out, you can reimagine that music. You know, you can do acoustic performances, you can get remixes, you can do playthroughs, you know, anything like that. But then on top of it, the personality stuff will work because you probably got a fan base who just wants to know more about you now because they know your music, you know?
Yeah, very true. And I tried to implement this when I was, you know, growing up and being in bands and being in unsuccessful bands and being in a successful band like I'm in now. But the thing is, I would always try to preach is the music comes first, obviously, because that's your connection and that's your art, and then followed by creative content, a marketing kind of campaign of some sort.
Yeah.
Then you're touring, then your local shows. Then so it is a step-by-step process. I mean, if to do a little research, it will significantly help any act that's like starting off from the beginning, which is great. And I never really thought about it until I took lessons with one of my mentors, and he said this is music and this is music business, and like one has nothing to do with the other. And I was like, holy shit. And then like that stuck with me for I think like since I was 16, 17, and it works. And then but you played in bands too, so you already had that marketing mind of doing things. Like, do you remember anything like specific that you did that kind of put your band in like a nice little highlight at a time?
Yeah. Something that we did that was that at the time I don't really think anyone had done before, that we tried to do a few years in a row. We hosted a music video festival. We called it the Ocelot Robot Film Festival, but really it was we collected entries for music videos, and we had a couple different categories or whatever. But this was probably the coolest thing we did after all those years. Is we got hundreds of submissions, like kind of like it was perfect because we were a couple of us were at the Grammys at the time. We were kind of used to the submission and entry process and screening process. But yeah, we we hosted a big event at a local bar here a couple years in a row, and had bands perform, and we announced the winners, and other giveaways and that kind of thing, and made trophies. I mean, it was legit, and that was super cool because it had nothing to do with us. But what we were really trying to do was to build this community of musicians, of artists. And we were a part of that, and we wanted to get to know the other people. And we went way outside of our genre of just, rock. It was like, we had rappers, we had, singer-songwriters, all kinds of stuff. That was one thing we did that we really loved. And I was just actually talking to my buddy who I was in the band with forever, like a couple days ago. And I was like, man, I wish I knew everything I knew now when we were in the band, because it was like I just learned so much this past couple of years, but it was also a different time. Everything I know now maybe wouldn't even have worked back then. I don't know.
No, that's true, because when back then, I mean, the MySpace days, there was ways of kind of utilizing that platform to get yourself out there, and now that that's gone, I mean, I remember Facebook being kind of put into a category of a disappointment for us, because there was bands that were buying likes, or there was bands that which is fine, are trying to advertise. And I remember specifically in 2013-14, you would promote, but Facebook just could not hold up this advertisement of these. I guess they weren't fake profiles, but our biggest fan base was in Egypt. I'm like, guys, this doesn't make sense. Like, why are we doing this? Please, we have 23,000 followers, and nobody's coming out to these local shows. Why is our fan base in Egypt?
Gotta get to Egypt. Gotta get to Egypt.
Gotta go to Cairo right now. Like, hop on that plane, dude. Just ship ourselves out. It made no sense. But like you said, it's such it transcends consistently, and you're always constantly learning something, which is cool. And that'll never change. And with the live streaming, like we were saying earlier, I don't think it's being oversaturated. But the cool thing. What's up?
That's my little boy. Sorry.
No, it's okay. He's cool.
One sec, buddy.
No,
sorry.
No, it's okay. I think
it's the real world.
He just wants to hang with dad and chill. How old is he? 3? 4?
He's 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So then daycare. Why? When did everything open? Are you guys yellow now?
He just went back Monday. Just Monday, after 3 months.
And it's yellow now. The state of California.
I have no idea. Actually, what I do know is that our daycare never officially closed. They, I know schools all did, but daycare in California, anyways, was considered an essential business because they had to make sure that essential workers had a place to drop off their kids.
Huh.
But we just chose not to. I mean, every parent that we went chose not to drop their kid off.
Correct. Yeah.
But I think we all felt like, I think now there's standards in place, hand washing, temperature checking, whatever,
Good.
And
yeah, the safer the better.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, dude. That's life, man. I don't count. I usually go with the flow 9 times out of 10. The only time I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm getting myself into in my own head.
But I did want to say really quick, back to what we were saying, just super quick. We were talking about putting out content, because I do think this is the key thing, anyways, just to remember, is it's just consistency. If you can get your fan base to expect something every Tuesday or every Thursday, I mean, every week, you're going to win, you know,
Mhm.
you're going to win.
Mhm. Yeah.
I didn't want it to sound like there was some hard or fast rule. Like, you know, like you said it perfectly. It all comes back to the music. You can buy likes, you can buy whatever you want to buy and make something look a certain way, and that's fine. But that always hits a wall anyways, because if you know, if like, say you're looking at a label that to sign you, or you're looking at, I don't know, an opportunity to be on I don't know, a mixtape or something, but there's a threshold or something, I don't know, you know, they're going to be like, oh, a lot of likes, let's look at their engagement. And then they look at the post itself and has like 20 likes and like one comment. Something seems off there,
Mhm.
you know? So like, it always comes back to, what are you putting out, you know?
Mhm.
And I used to say this all the time when I would talk to bands at the Grammys. Like, I'd be like, never, ever make something to win a Grammy. Like, that should never be your goal. Like, you just need to focus on your art,
Mhm.
you know, perfect your art, like have your vision be real, you know, because then you'll feel complete as a person too.
Mhm.
If you know, if the goal is just to win a Grammy or just to be on a radio station or whatever, it's going to be hard, because if that takes longer than you want it to get there, you might give up or something, or get hard on yourself, and it doesn't mean anything about what you're creating. Oh God, now I'm getting preachy and I hate myself.
But it's something that like you're distracting yourself from the ultimate goal with creating your own positive art, like in your sense, or negative
exactly.
art. Art is art, and it might be like, oh, you never know, like I might win a Grammy one day. I don't know, like it might be a goal,
Sure.
but don't make that, like you said, the very sole thing that you're trying to aim for, because you're never going to be able to please yourself, and you can't please everybody. You just got to do what you're into.
Oh man,
yeah. It doesn't.
Is that a lesson right there, or
Dude.
what? Like, you can't please everybody. That is seriously such a hard thing to like. I talk about this with my bands all the time. Mm-hmm. They'll want to write something, and maybe they'll choose not to use a certain lyric because they don't want to. And I don't mean offend, but they just don't want to like neglect a certain audience or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, look, man, like, if you are trying to get everybody, you'll end up getting nobody. You know, but if you want to get a diehard fan base, like, find your niche or find that scene and just go get them. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, perfect example. Periphery did that when they released P3. P4 came out and they were like, "This is just letting you know. This is what we just wanted to do. Like, we wanted to
totally. I love
ourselves."
that. I'm so about that.
Yeah, me too.
Especially right now. Especially right now.
There's a lot of emotions.
Like, there's no rules, man. Mm-hmm. Just put out what you want to put out if you're able to. Mm-hmm. If you're able to do that.
The only thing I suggest is make those 10-second intro catchy. That way, someone, you know, when they stream it, they go right into it. That's all.
Totally, yeah. You might only have 10 seconds to grab somebody. You know.
Yeah.
That's at our A&R times. They spend all their time on that kind of stuff. But this is going to sound really cheesy too. It's kind of off topic, but kind of relates. But I love Newfound Glory. Oh man, it's like I just grew up on them, like so young.
I saw them back in New Jersey, House of Independence. Yeah, that was a great show they put on, man. That was a great show.
My sister and I, massive fans. We've seen them probably like, I don't know, at least like 10 times just over the years. I love them so much. But they have a lyric. It's like, if you don't have enemies, you've never stood for anything, I think is something like that. Yeah. And I just like always think about that. I'm like, that's so true, man. Like, don't worry about trying to make everybody happy. Like, just stand for what you believe in and do what you want to do and be an artist,
yeah,
you know? Like,
seriously. Dude, it took me so long.
It's not always easy.
Lesson. Like, I was trying to please everybody, being in a group with guys.
Dude, I still am. I have not figured it out. Like, I just can't.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's not good.
It's something that takes a little bit to learn, and over time, and that's okay. Like, shit happens. I don't know. If I'm in a band, I'm like, you know, I'll do as much as I can because I want to be on that next level. And then, you know, like, you know, the bands that I'm talking about in the past, and sometimes they wouldn't put up as much of an effort, which doesn't matter. That's not like, I'm not, you know, gonna blast them for it. It's just that's their dedication. Sure. That's how the industry works. But I've been trying to please them, and I'm like, I just can't. I just gotta find a new band. Like I would knew when there was an expiration date. I'm like, all right, I gotta go find another band.
Totally.
And just move on. Like, just discreetly, you know. I'm like looking. It's like,
but we're lucky, man. Look, being an artist is the coolest job that exists. Yep. You're expressing yourself at the core in the format that you've chosen. Like, There is no better job, you know, but that does not mean it's an easy job, because it's not.
No, it's one of the hardest jobs literally in the world. And my mentor, when I told him, I was like, I want to be a musician, like full time. I was like 16. It's like, I'm going to tell you what I told my son. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know what I did?
Exactly.
I did it. And so did he.
Yeah, of course you did, because you're an artist.
Yeah, exactly. And so did he. I think it's reverse psychology. But it worked out great.
That's the thing. If you want to be a musician or any artist because you want to be rich, your goals are all off.
Some people,
if you want to, it works out. Sure, it works that way for some people. But if that's like what you're thinking about, if you want to be an artist or a musician because you want to be famous, your goals are all off. You know, an artist you've got a message that you have to get out there. You know, and whatever, you know, if it's painted, if it's written, if it's sung, if it's visual, you know, that's what it's about. You know, and that's why I'm just so thankful for this job. I get to work with real artists, you know, people who have a vision, and I get to help them do it. I mean, it's all them. I'm taking zero credit, but I get to help them make it into people's faces and ears, you know?
Yeah, build that narrative and try to relate in the modern times, which is crazy because I don't feel like the live streaming is oversaturated because there is really nothing else to do. However, I mean, you know, but everybody's doing it. I mean, like I was telling you, I mean, I started this podcast before the quarantine because Kevin Lyman said yes, and then we worked out, and then it was a snowball effect, and then soon after the quarantine happened, like, oh shit, like, you know, now I gotta actually like keep going and see what happens. Yeah. So, and I thoroughly enjoyed. But like
the good news, I'll tell you, I did hear. I'm so sorry, but I have heard from our digital team though that podcasting is like this right now, just like
really. Like
oh yeah, the consumption of podcasts are just like exploding.
That's
so you're in a good spot.
For now. I mean, I just enjoy it, man. It was just one of those things. Like I said, like we were just literally just talking about. Like I wouldn't start something if I'm not enjoying it. Like I'm not logging this for clout or for fame. And some people are gonna holler at me for saying the word clout, but
oh whatever, dude. I mean, look, you're great. Like dude, you're so fun to talk to. You're such a nice guy, and you're smart and you're passionate. Like, dude, that's all you need, man. Yeah. Just be excellent to each other.
Literally, we're this huge community, and let's just literally have the greatest time that we possibly can.
That's all I ever have believed in. Like entertainment, Los Angeles. I mean, I don't know, man. There's so much bad shit out there. Like people just stepping on people, walking on people, using people. Like, you know, some of those people might get really successful doing that, and plenty of them are going to go higher faster than me because they choose to do that. But like, why? Like, what's the value of that? Like, I don't want to be known to be like that. You don't want to be known to be like that. Like, I don't know.
Some people just
I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, because I've experienced it before, and it's when we were in a community in the metalcore scene back in 2013, 12. It was a little toxic. I'm like, wow, this is competitive. This is really strange. Like really strange. I never thought anything of that kind of nature. But you know, it's completely changed. And now the community that I'm in now, everybody's extremely supportive and just wants the best.
It's wonderful,
for
dude.
Yeah, it's so fantastic.
I mean, there's a world where competition, where like creative restraints are helpful.
For sure.
They can help you maybe try something different or, you know, pick up a new skill or something. But, you know, in general, like, well, not for me anyways. How about that?
Sure. No, I totally feel you. Wait, what do you play though? Guitar, drums,
bass?
And you did that since you were like what, high school or before that?
Yeah. I mean, probably sophomore in high school, because I played trumpet since I was in like 4th grade.
Oh,
so cool. I loved music forever. This was in Illinois. In Illinois, that's where I was born, in Chicago, a suburb. That's they started a band really young, and then I moved to Arizona, and like I was first chair because everyone just started playing their instrument like that year or something, you know. So I was just a few years ahead of everybody. But yeah, then my best friend at the time picked up a bass and showed me this guy named Victor Wooten, who I love, incredible bass player. And yeah, I just got hooked, and that Christmas asked my parents for asked Santa. Sorry, I don't know who the viewers are. Got a bass for Christmas, and then ever since, yes, I've been in multiple bands since then.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then you just implement.
I didn't even ask you. What do you do?
I drum.
Yeah, oh my man, dude, drums are what I wish
It's a
I would
little
love to
loud,
play
and
drums.
I don't. It's so funny because people think, how do you get sick of carrying around those things when you go to gig? I go, nah, dude, just enjoy it, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you're a drummer.
yeah, I just want to hit things, on time with a
I
click.
yeah, I don't get me wrong. I attempt drumming all the time, or used to in rehearsal spaces, because I love
Right.
it. But I would love to like formally learn and just become so dedicated to that. I love drums.
Dude, I'll definitely throw you some tips or something if you have a kid or something. Like,
Please,
dude, let's go.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like with my son. His name is Jet. I'm like, Jet, what you can do whatever you want, but you're definitely gonna learn drums.
He has to.
And
Yeah.
you're gonna
take after his dad's passion. Dude, his hair's long too. That was crazy. I was like,
oh yeah,
dude, he's gonna be like a skater, surfer, musician, like all that jazz, like Cali kid.
it blows my mind. His birth certificate says he was born in Santa Monica, California. That, like, to me, as a kid who I was born in a town called Mokina, Illinois, that no one's ever heard of. Like, to think that I'd have a son with Santa Monica, California on his birth certificate, like, it's just crazy to me. So, like, yeah, he's gonna be a California
That's
kid.
so badass. That's awesome. I always wanted to sing though, or kind of like do screaming. I can kind of like manipulate it.
Be an Aaron Gillespie.
Yeah, dude, huge inspiration, man. I would love to have him on. I met him at Launch Music Conference 2016. No, 2018. It was the 10th year. Really humble guy. Him and Spencer, they were so burnt out though. They were because they did an acoustic act there at the Chameleon Club in Lancaster, but they were exhausted because they released that new album from Fearless Records, which sounds amazing. And I'll go after them next to see if I can get Aaron. Like, you know what I mean?
Those guys are so awesome.
They are.
And together, they're hysterical.
Really?
Like, those two are, like, we've got all these stories that we've captured for them to put out as just, like, additional content. And I've just, like, they're insane together. They're so funny. Like, and some of the things that they've experienced in their lives are just, like, hard to believe, just silly. But their dynamic with each other is, I really enjoy that.
Is that
great guy?
Do you have a favorite when you work with these bands, or are they like, there is no favorite child, they're all your favorite kind of thing? Like,
I do have to completely be like, it would be very obvious, I think, if there were favorites, because you would, like, I don't know, it'd be hard to actually act if you had a favorite. You know,
that's true. You're so involved.
I mean, there are certain.
Sorry, no, I'm just saying. It'd be easier if we were in person too, because like there's a little bit of delay. But if you're so involved with them, it's great because of the fact that you're learning not only about them but about their art and their brand, and like it's probably, like you said, it's not easy. You can't really pick favorites, considering the fact.
Totally. Well, and also on top of it, like musically, I've got a band, Varials, just like hardcore, just great fucking band, and then we've got a band on the label called, My Kid Brother. I mean, the span of those sounds are just, it's a really big net that we kind of cast, like this kind of like alternative rock. And then there's just like hardcore, metal band. Like, so that's also a thing, like if I feel like maybe it'd be easier if we like put them head to head, like same sound kind of thing, but they're all great. I'm just, like I said, it's just so cool to be amongst all of them, and get to work with them all. Like Word Alive, the Word Alive's been on the label for 10 years, man.
Time. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and I get to put out Monomania with those guys, and like, it's so cool to me. I'm like, wow, like this is a big deal. Like you guys have been here forever. You're legends of the scene and the label.
No shelf life, just completely, pushing forward with everything. And they, evolved and transcended into greater artistic tunes that they've been putting out there. I'm personally stoked for Chunk. There's a whole scene that is really, really stoked, because everybody thought that they kind of retired or just quit or whatever, but now, I mean, seems like
I don't know if you were watching. We had that Fearless at Home like kind of live stream festival thing we put together.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Did you see when he popped up?
Yeah.
So that was a pretty exciting moment. We were excited to throw that little Easter egg in there. But yeah, he popped up. He's like, I know there's been a lot of question if we broke up. He's like, I'm here to tell you, we have not. And I will tell you, I've heard a new demo, and it's awesome.
There's a whole group called the Revive Easy Core on Facebook, and that is basically like their tier god of that group is Chunk No Cap and Chunk. Like, of the starters of the Easy Core. It's so cool. But when they announced it, it kind of revived that group, because there hasn't been much Easy Core as a genre out there as much. So maybe that'll kind of help them out a little bit. Like,
I have to give a huge shout out to someone on our team. Her name is Claire. She's an angel. Her license plate says Easy Core.
Let's go. Let's go, dude.
She's a legend.
Oh my god. And I'm sure, like, maybe she has a favorite. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can only imagine.
Yeah. Claire, who's your favorite?
And you, I mean, how often do you work with John Howe? I recently had him as, the animator of Fearless. How often do you guys work together? He's a really good fucking friend of mine.
All nice. The time.
Yeah.
I mean, I would first and foremost say he is a great friend of mine. I really love that guy. Such a kind soul. Oh my God, a wonderful friend back. But yeah, I met him my first day. He didn't live here at the time. This was the old Fearless office. He was just visiting, I think finalizing, I don't know if I had this wrong, but maybe finalizing his some immigration stuff, I think potentially signing paperwork. Cause he's British. But yeah, I mean, in the office, he actually sits directly behind me. So all day long, we're just fucking around and fucking around.
Obviously.
But no, he touches everything. If you look at this guy's Dropbox folder on Dropbox, for Starset alone, I think we counted it. I think he did over 500 animations just for the rollout of that record, just for that one.
Oh my God.
And so, he works on every single artist, on every release, on every bridge track. I mean, my God, the guy's an animal.
Yeah, he literally deserves it.
We're very lucky to have him.
Yeah, he deserves it. The team seems like it's so well-rounded and so passionate, which is great. Now, because I'm still a little unknown to what you usually do on a daily basis, but walk me through a start of how you go about coming up with a marketing campaign for, let's say, Under Oath, in a sense. What was your first initial step in general?
Well, I think it's maybe a little different. So there's three product managers at Fearless, me, Nona, and Anna. And so we basically split the roster into thirds is how we do it. So Under Oath is Anna actually, and she's in New York. Okay. But what I would do with any of these releases, it all kind of starts with, we were saying before, what's the vision of this record? What's the inspiration? What are these songs about? So it's just talking to the band, talking to the artist, with the manager, and be like, tell us this bit. What is this? Why did you do this? What's it about? And then we'll talk about some basic goals that you want to reach. They could be streaming goals. They could be playlists. They could be consumption goals. They could be, my God, anything. But we try to get them as top level as we can. And then on our marketing plans, it's broken up by every department, from press to digital to content to sales, international. And then we just break those all out and go, okay, from each of these departments, what can we do to hit these goals? But really the day-to-day is it's just all timeline building, developing creative ideas. You're really the point person between the band and every team, So a big part of being a product manager is the actual product, making the physical CD, vinyl, whatever variant, cassettes, anything, digital, streaming. So you have to get all those parts, So you have to get lyrics, all the tech copy, the credits. You're just the in-between person. You're just the product. You're the project manager for the whole release and the whole campaign. So, anything from any team has to just go through you. Mm-hmm. God, I hope did that even make any sense?
No, it
what
does.
do I do?
No. Well, it's one of the, you're essentially, there's a lot of grunt work that goes to it. Like you said, the lyrics, the content, uploading it, make sure everything's online, kind of go down the list that you're ready for a rollout for a timeline. And what's the average timeline? Usually 3-4 months, usually in quarters?
Well, so it changed now. So something that, we were talking about just before we got on was all we used to really talk about was the album cycle. And the album cycle, again, with touring, could probably be let's say 2 years for a big band or something. Mm-hmm. You've got the rollout, which might be a couple months with a tour, but then they're going to go abroad to maybe Australia for a little bit. And then they're going to come back and do Europe. And then they're going to do a headline tour. And then touring used to be a really big part of that timeline. Mm-hmm. And it's not right now. Right. So now the timeline's okay, is there a radio component? You're going to have station visits, whatever, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But the timeline is kind of forever now. It's like, it's just your artist timeline. It's not even about an album anymore. It's about like, what are you doing as an artist every week to continually drive to the record, but also to like your catalog, your previous releases, your merch business, you know, your music videos, your content. Oh my God, I'm exhausted even talking about it. But it's a lot.
I want to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah,
oh, I'm sure. And some bands, you know, they have, like you said, they have ideas, or sometimes they don't. But it's important that the behind the curtain jobs are there to implement the best way of putting that music out there in general. You know, through an overall.
And you know, we've got our little book of secrets and things that we like to just kind of like do for everybody that we know work. With all the data that's been collected over all these years and all these bands. But we try to tailor each release to that, you know, to who the band is or who the artist is, because it's got to fit their voice. That's a big part of the, you know, the social strategy, is it has to be in their voice, you know?
Yeah, that is true.
So you can do the same thing for every band, but it still has to be tailored, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great way of putting it. It just needs to be tailored to exactly how you kind of work with that project. And it's unfortunate with the pandemic going on, but I don't think that we're going to have shows. I keep talking about this, but I hope it doesn't happen. But I think we're not going to have shows until 2021. It seems like we're kind of on that path already, which is.
I think we are. I mean, from the little things that, you know, I've heard from our president and just from the touring world and stuff, it seems like, here's the thing, even if individual states get to a place where like, okay, we'll allow large gatherings of, say, I don't know, say 200 people max or something. And even that, the venue's gonna have things they have to do to make that okay, I'm sure. You know, social distancing stuff probably still. But even if that's the case, even if you get some venues 200 cap in certain states, and this wouldn't be national, who do you think is going to get those venues? I mean, the biggest bands on the planet, right? Like you've got a band, you know, any band at Fearless can sell out a 200 cap room.
For sure. 110%.
But so they're all starving for touring. So now you've got a band that's usually their venue size competing against stadium bands who are also missing out on touring, you know, it would be amazing to have a 200 person, you know, show, you know? So it's like, does that make sense? Like, you just can't compete now with, it's every level of artists now competing for these tiny venues.
Right. Once
our bands aren't going to get them.
Once the floodgates open, you know, like you said, it's going to start from the top and like work its way down. And in the industry that you and I are involved in, I mean, I'm in the underground. The Fearless, they have like tier 2, tier 1, you know, in general, depending on the band and such. But I'm, you know, unless if you want to do tier 3, so I'd be tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. Those tier 1 bands are going to be like, I would have a feeling August Burns Red would definitely get some of those gigs, because they're at top of the metal scene. However, there are, like you said, there's some bands that probably just gonna have to even wait it out when these bigger bands come in. Like, like it's not
that's the thing. It still has to make sense. You know, it has to make sense with like where they are in their campaign. Like, you wouldn't put a band out there if they haven't put music out in 2 years, right? Especially if in the near future there is a plan to drop a record. You want to like save that moment until you're you know, I hate to say the word selling, but selling something new.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, it's a business.
So it's tricky. It's tricky. I mean, touring's certainly a part of the business that I'm actively learning very much. Like, I don't know a ton about it outside of like being a touring musician or whatever. I actually didn't really know a lot about behind the scenes and stuff. So that's a big part of like the strategy I'm still absorbing and learning. And now it's hard to, because it doesn't exist.
Right. Like everything completely changed. And like I said earlier, the live streaming works, but I mean, like you said, how long? It becomes stagnant.
Totally.
It becomes stagnant. It's like, I've been seeing the band do so many live streams for so long. Like, what's next? You know, and everybody's doing interviews, which is great. Like, everybody's definitely trying their best to get themselves out there. But I mean, it does get probably overwhelming for the viewer. Be like, all right, I've seen.
And George, dude, it's tricky too, because I don't want to sound like this comment. I want this to come off wrong, but it's like live. You know, the touring business for our bands is a massive portion of how they make their income as artists. Sure. And so live streaming is awesome. It's a way to keep your fans engaged, stay connected to them. But, you know, is that making money? I mean, no. Not, I mean, pretty much zero. But there are ways to monetize on it and charge for performances and stuff. But, you know, now you're competing against everyone else who's doing it for free. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
For example, Neck Deep, they in order to watch their content on Twitch, you have to subscribe to them. Like in the beginning, I was like, huh, like I don't know how I feel about that. I wonder if people are gonna jump on. Then I thought about it again. I was like, you know what? But they're not touring, and that's their main income, so it makes sense. And they're still getting a good amount of people to come in. That's why I'm always thankful that anybody takes the time to come on, because people ask me like, "Are you paying these people?" I was like, "No, we're just having a casual conversation." Like,
yeah, man,
it's just a normal thing. But yeah, it scares me. I mean, I know even the whole scenario is not good for the music in any industry, really. Even comedians, like it's when are they going to go back into playing at the Laugh Factory or something like that? I mean, one of my biggest inspirations from this comedian Tom Segura. I mean, he's going nuts right now. So like, he's funny with his producer and everything. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god, yeah.
So awesome.
I did hear though that comedy clubs are going to be the first round probably to open, just because they are smaller.
Yeah, and you can separate everybody in like seat after seat. Yeah.
That's the trick. Venues in our scene are really not traditionally seated, and that's why they're going to have a problem. They could put seats in, I suppose, and the good thing about seats is you can like X out seats,
right?
But now you're at a percentage capacity. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing will replace that live element. Drinking, jumping on each other, shouting, screaming. It's just, there is no substitute.
And to put that into perspective, I remember seeing a show back in the day, and we went, and it was at the Croc Rock. However, literally as we were driving to the venue, we got an email notification. I don't know if it was for Ticketmaster or whatever, but the Croc Rock lost its liquor license. So and I don't know if that venue's even up and running anymore, because didn't look like it was holding together. And they had some great acts, but they moved it over like a couple miles down the road at a club because it had alcohol. It was like I'd never seen anything like it in my life. I'm like, how do they not know? There was no alcohol here. Yeah. There's a bunch of metal fans, so it's everybody wants to drink. So Croc Rock doesn't have alcohol. Now we're going to do a different venue. The venue's like, yep, come on over. Like we'll support. I was like, yo, like all your tickets are valid. Just bring your original ticket. Like those things.
It's weird, man.
I know. Well, but that's what people do. Like if you're working 9 to 5. I mean, I still work my 9 to 5. But it's not really 9 to 5. It's 4 to 12. But if I want to go see a band that I thoroughly enjoy on a weekend with friends or significant others, whatever, I'm gonna take a drink or two. Like I might even designate a TV. I want to have a good time. So yeah, it does play a huge part. But isn't that crazy? Like something like that completely flipped the whole show to somewhere else. Like it was insane.
I've not heard anything like that yet. That's really interesting. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Right.
I mean,
it was less.
But I've not heard that.
Or there was a time where at Game Changer in New Jersey, Knocked Loose was playing a show. Some security guard like fucked up like big time, and the cops came, and then Champs in New Jersey and Trend, they hosted the show. They were like, it's a free show, let's go. And that's a huge scene for like hardcore music and metal. So, it's not competition, but you just have to abide by like what's in demand.
Totally.
That's the business of it.
We've all been saying we're just so worried. Like I just don't want to like. I'm so sad we're gonna lose bands. Bands are gonna give up because they can't survive. They need to go get jobs, and it's like you just don't know. Like you've just seen it. Once you get that job, do you fall into that? Do you start just focusing on your job? I mean, it depends what it is, but it's like
exactly.
I just don't want to lose all these bands, and people with like amazing artistic abilities and stuff that are being stymied by the situation.
Yeah.
Can't even get their art out, like that makes me sad to think about. And I hope I hope most can fight through it, even if they're working. A lot of our bands have had to pick up jobs.
Yeah.
They have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's insane.
There's no touring. I mean, you can do a merch drop right now and make several, make tens of thousands of dollars, but especially right now with what's going on, and it looks a little opportunistic, or it looks like you're ignoring the bigger issues on the planet, and it's just it's all tricky, man.
Very tricky, yeah.
George, you there, dude? Something happened.
What do you mean?
It looks like a really cool Bring Me the Horizon music video right now.
No way, really? It might just be on your
end.
I'm
gonna text you a picture of what you look like right now.
That's insane.
Check this out.
Oh, give me a second. I'm gonna go see what. My phone's all the way on the other side of the room. There we go.
I think we're good as long as it's. Oh, you're back to normal, but I'm glad I caught it.
Hold on, I get it. Hold on, here it is.
You know that song Sandstorm?
No way. You know what? Well, it's still going. It might just be on your end, but I'm gonna have to. I might have to cancel my next guest tonight because I did order a streaming computer. Like I'm running this off of a MacBook, and I've been so busy, and it's been working fairly well. But look, I think
it was just me because you're back to normal now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but that was awesome.
Yeah, I never knew of a way to to get around releasing music during these times, and we were set to record more music with my band General, and then he got shut down in New Jersey because New Jersey and New York were like the worst states on the East Coast, so he couldn't even have his business running up in General, and tried to work with us just through his studio. Like it was not possible. So it's crazy. You're right. It is tricky. That's like the big word. It's tricky to get yourself out there to make income and also, realize like how much, negative situations are out there.
Look, like with any business, right? Usually when you first start, you're not operating in the black. I mean, with any business, you start a business, you're in the red for a minute. And it's just like, you kind of go into that knowing you have to be able to operate in that for a little bit of time. But so knowing that, but now on top of that, like it's already hard enough to get started in any business, let alone our business. It's already hard enough. But now you throw in these like economic factors that have never been seen by our generation, like, I mean,
we've been hit pretty hard.
Yeah. It's like, it's scary, it's like disheartening a little bit sometimes. And you just got to believe in what you do and keep going, man.
Constantly always thinking of others, especially in this industry, in other industries, families, people in poverty, people who can get by, people who have mom and pop shops. People like I remember in the very beginning, I was ordering out a lot. Obviously, everybody's probably going to gain a little quarantine pounds.
Totally. Oh, yeah. Quarantine 15.
And it was crazy. The dramatic loss of business was so significant that you can never compare it to like Doorside Pickup or getting DoorDash or Grubhub or whatever it is. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
It's literally not the same. No. So I'm always thinking about others, and hopefully we can find a solution to getting back into a normal, lifestyle and open up this economy. Because I don't know. It just, me personally, I would like to see something great happen where everything just goes back to normal and we'll just like eventually we'll not forget about it, but just let it off our shoulders, like let that weight off and just like, oh, we can go back.
Yeah, it'd be good to know that like change was made, that people fucking learned something from all this. I don't know. It would just be good to see like, I know what you mean. I want to go back to normal too, but I also want to go back to a new normal.
Right. Yeah.
Like a place where everyone's like outside, we're comfortable seeing other people, we're not like terrified of everybody, but we're also like, conscious of like just the terrible, this treatment of certain groups of people, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to swallow, honestly.
It is, man. Yeah. I've been like so depressed about all this. I've got a little kid, and I'm like, how do me and my wife are always talking about this. How do we communicate what's going on the planet with him? Because we want to hear it from us, and we want to be like, look, this is what's going on, and this is why some people are upset. Sorry, now I'm talking about a specific thing, but okay. Even the quarantine, even the quarantine, just trying to explain these things and trying to be like a conscious parent it's like all I think about. I'm like, oh my God, like we have a kid in this crazy, scary world right now. We gotta do more. We gotta teach them,
exactly. And like, there's no handwritten book. I was always told the parenting. You just basically learn as you go, kind of thing.
George, you'll see, man. It just takes one time, dude. Yep. Just takes one time.
Pull out game.
And you're a dad.
Pull out game might not be that strong, but that's okay. As long as your significant other is well-rounded.
Wait, dude, I've been dying to know this whole time. What's on your sleeve up there?
Oh,
what is that tattoo?
This is from my dude Nick Kaiser at Dead Meat. If you want to look him up on Instagram, it's basically an Egyptian lotus with an all-seeing eye. Kind of
Yes.
correlating to the flower of
Oh,
life
you've
and the
got
conic
some
cone. Oh, I got so much work
geometry
to do.
stuff.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to correlate it with just sacred geometry and math and the grand architect of the universe in a sense. So kind of
Yeah,
put that
man.
all
No, like,
through.
so, I mean, you brought up Egypt now a few times on this. Do you like Egypt? Is Egypt like
That
a
was a
thing?
thing back in the day. Like,
Okay, because I'm obsessed.
right, yeah, just
We had our honeymoon in Egypt, dude.
no, let's go. How was
It was
it?
the most incredible experience of our lives,
Riding on
truthfully.
camels,
Insane.
you know.
Oh, yeah, camels. We did a cruise on the Nile for like 2 weeks, basically, and saw all the main spots. Like, got to go in the pyramid. I was the only person in Khufu's pyramid from the time I went to the time I left. Not a single person was
No
there. It was
shit.
just me. Not even security. Nobody.
What? That's interesting.
Spiritual moment, dude.
Hmm.
I love
That's
Egypt.
crazy. I saw, like, just studying it back in middle school, like sixth or seventh
Hmm.
grade. I was just so drawn to it, and then like learning about it as I grew up, like small particular things. They weren't far different from how we are with society. Like they had bars, they had restaurants and
Yeah.
everything. Like it was basically the same, except on the
Well, and they'll tell you
unfortunate.
they invented all of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Keep
you're
going.
good. Yeah, you're good. The only thing I don't like about it is the slaving. But other than that, like,
Totally.
yeah, it was an interesting
Yep.
time period for sure. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. But they like I don't know. We came home with a lot more questions than when we left to go there. Like it made us just completely question like this planet and how old it is. And oh dude, it was the best. It's so good. I love when you do something that just like opens your mind like that.
yep, yeah. No,
Makes you think.
history. Are you a huge history buff? Is that like your go-to?
Yeah, now that I'm an adult,
Yeah.
now that I'm not getting graded on it.
Because you're like,
I didn't
don't
give
wanna
a
study
shit when I was
this.
younger.
Yeah. So I'm the same.
And
boat as
now
you,
I'm
dog.
older and I'm like obsessed. I'm like, guys, where do we come from? We need to learn.
Yeah. Let's ask Alex Jones. Alex.
Yeah. He's coming in. He's coming in.
Alex. The water turns the frogs gay. I don't know, dude. I don't know. A lot of the stuff that guy says is crazy. Yeah. So I want to finish the sleeve. He's a fantastic tattoo artist. And I worry about him too. Eventually, I think he'll come on the podcast. I haven't heard from him in a little bit. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Because he owns his tattoo shop. We talked about it, and now that everything's happening, I just hope he's okay. So Nick, I love you, buddy.
I know. A lot of artists,
Love you,
man.
Dad.
Tough for a lot of artists and a lot of industries right now. It
Yeah,
sucks.
it's really fucked up. Hopefully, we can get back to it eventually. What is like as a curious individual like myself, hence having the podcast. What is your next step that you kind of want to involve yourself in, whether it's in the industry or something in your career? Like, do you have another step that you kind of look forward to?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, I'm constantly joking with like my coworkers or the bands. Like, I do miss playing like a lot. I miss playing live,
Yeah.
but so do all of our bands. They all miss playing live.
Yeah.
That's something I think. I don't know. Is that realistic right now? Probably not. I've always really wanted to start a brand. I've been like looking into that a little bit. Just like, I'm not saying it has to be the most successful thing ever. I just want to try it, like something that I created and own, and it's out there, and something I can just be passionate about, like personally, creatively.
Yep.
I feel like I'm missing that right now. I just want to keep growing and at Fearless, and I want to just I want to keep attaching myself to just a really amazing records. And you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes you get really great songs, and I'm not saying at Fearless, I just mean in general. Sometimes there are really great songs, but they're performed so terribly, right? And sometimes you have terrible songs that are just incredibly performed. And so I guess the only reason I'm saying that is to say that you don't really know. I've got a ton of records. We have a ton of records coming out that are so good, but it's like that doesn't necessarily always mean it's going to stick and become the next important record for a group of people or an age group, But I'd like to think that some of these ones coming out will be, and I just want to keep attaching myself to those and know when my son is going to a record store or wherever he goes to find music as an adult or a teenager, I can be like, "Oh, you like this? Guess who had a part in it? Check out these liner notes, man."
Let's go.
That'd be so special to me. And my next big goal is I just ever since I was a kid, I want I want like a gold record on my wall. You know,
Yeah,
that
for
sounds
sure.
so lame.
No, it's not. It's a dream, and it's a goal and aspiration. Like, you know, with something that you just put into what you love to do. Like, if that's your music and it just, you know, it becomes something like that, that's awesome. Like, that's a feel good moment.
Just to know I had a little part in it would just be so cool. You know, it just made me feel proud. You know, I am proud already, but it'd just be. That's always been
awesome. Maybe we'll start a side project. I don't know. I'll start writing beats for you or something. Dude, you know what I mean? We'll get John involved. We'll make John play guitar or something. He's trying to play drums too.
Dude, John plays guitar, yeah, and he plays drums. I think, yeah.
He's a vocalist.
Hey, man, we'll be the next postal service. We'll just send it, you know, online to each other.
I would look forward to that. I mean, I'm writing music for Poeta right now, but like, there's nothing. I just can't play shows, like, or not. No, that's not what I mean. I can't really like tour because I work full time. You know what I mean? So. That's gonna.
I know.
Yeah, we took a hiatus, and I tried suggesting not doing it, and then we did it anyways. It was like whatever, and then it kind of pushed back. I was like, that's okay, whatever. We'll still release cool music. Fuck it.
Yeah, man. You'll keep putting out new music. Like just see where that leads you, man. Exactly. You know, I mean, the good thing that the position you're in right now is no one's playing out. You know, you can just keep releasing tons of stuff, and if you start getting response, you might be able to convince yourself, your boss, you know, your family, like. Actually, this isn't going to be a problem, you know?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Yeah, I can't wait for my computer to get in here so I can start cooking up to my interface. I have a Scarlett 10. What is it? A 10 something? 18i90, dude. Because I, wanted to record drums, but this whole podcast is going to be... And I'll have you guys back on. I think, like, what I'm going to implement next is, like, multiple guests. So, like, we'll just, like, all hang out or something, like you, John. Like, maybe we'll get, like, a whole team going on or something.
It's an honor to be a part of this right now. Like, thank you so much. Like, I'd be anytime you ever want to talk and just mess around, I am always here, dude.
It's a pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure, dude. So I, hope everybody stays safe, like you, your wife, and your kid. I really appreciate you coming on. This was a great time. I'm gonna, definitely, keep some thoughts in the back of my head so I can send those drum ideas to you, and then we'll try to,
sure, dude,
implement that. That'd be fucking badass.
Hey, man, if you ever want to talk about music, this weird business we're in, or just like marketing, dude, I'm always happy to talk about that stuff. We can talk about your band, talk about you, anytime, man. Honestly,
dude, everybody from Fearless, you guys are fucking sweethearts, man. Like all of you. Every single person.
Oh, thanks. Bands, it's a good, we're good people, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. No, I appreciate you coming on. I'll have your episode uploaded within the week, and I'll let you know what's going on. So I appreciate you having the time. Stay safe, brother. I really appreciate you.
You too, man. I appreciate you, and just keep doing it, dude. I love this. You're awesome.
Stop.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Absolutely. All right. Take care.